Hello everyone, welcome back to the Ultimate USA Trucking Guide, where we take you on the journey to every truck type that is being used commercially in USA. This is part 4 of the series, and today's presentation we will be talking about different container types, but more on that on the next slide. Also, for your information, we will be adding a lot of animation, graphics, and all sorts of various multimedia, like for example, like this. This is to make this a more user-friendly and enjoyable experience. So let's move on to the second slide. So this is the first presentation of this series, where we will be addressing more than one truck trailer type. Another thing that I want to mention is the question about raw documents and dispatchers working in Southeast Asia, namely Sri Lanka, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh. Okay. Firstly, I have decided to stop uploading the raw documentation for further analysis, as many of my students want all the information on the slides. Secondly, a lot of people are asking me if there is any need to address these types of truck types, and the answer is yes, there is a need, because dispatchers don't only dispatch hot shots and semi-trucks, but they can also dispatch other truck and trailer setups and variants. Please note down that every DAT abbreviation that is listed here can be dispatched for. I hope everyone got that. Let's move on to the third slide. So as the title suggests, we are going to be talking about standard, insulated, and refrigerated containers. Firstly, let me explain the abbreviation. That's these words which I have just highlighted. Okay, so ISO or ISO stands for International Organization for Standardization. TEU stands for 20-foot equivalent unit, and FEU stands for 40-foot equivalent unit. Why they call it foot and not feet is beyond me. Please take your time and read these bullet points which I have laid out on this slide, as we will talk about them extensively in this presentation. Just for your information, the progress bar at the bottom of the screen is the time you have left to read each slide. And I will make sure that there is enough time to listen to me and also to read the slide. So please read this slide thoroughly so we can move on to the fourth slide. So here I will give you a brief introduction or an explanation of each one of these container types. So let's start with the standard container or dry cargo. The standard containers are weatherproof metal boxes used to transport various goods across land and sea. Their purpose is to provide a secure, efficient, and cost-effective means of transporting cargo. The second image of the container with a specialized insulation liner is ideal for cargo that needs safeguarding from bad smells, condensation, or a buildup of moisture inside the container. And lastly, I have divided this into two images, one for the exterior and the other for the interior, just so you can see how a refrigerated container looks like from the outside and the inside. Refrigerated containers are also called reefer containers or reefer units, which are used for goods that needs to be temperature controlled during shipping. Reefer containers are equipped with a refrigeration unit. I think they are also called an APU unit. So this is connected to the power supply on board the cargo ship. I hope everyone got that. Let's move on to the fifth slide. I don't have to explain much here. I have a slide like this in every video that I have made so far. So please just take your time and scan through this information, and we will move on to the sixth slide. Let's try to run through this slide very quickly as I want to address other things in this video. So flashlights, inspection mirrors, measuring tape, markers, magnetic thickness gauge, borescope and endoscope, and obviously a phone or tablet which the company that the inspector works for provides you with. The second point is cleaning equipment, which involves high pressure washers, brushes and scrubs, brooms, solvents, degreasers, and vacuum cleaners. Third point will be basic repair tools that are used to repair damaged containers. That includes welding machines, grinder and cutting tools, hammer, mallets, screwdrivers, wrenches, pry bars, angle grinder and cutting tools, and a caulking gun. The fourth point is for sealing holes and open pockets in the containers. This means you will be needing a sealant gun, a butyl tape, and epoxy resin. And the last point is about safety. For this, you will be needing working gloves, glasses, goggles, hard hats, steel-toed boots, respirator masks if you're working with hazardous chemicals, and obviously fire extinguisher for emergency purposes. So I did mention in the previous video that I made that I will add more different types of multimedia, including B-roll videos, images, and animations. So here are some video examples related to this topic. And also please be aware that if my YouTube videos are more than 30 or 40 minutes long, then please use the timestamps given below to jump straight to the topic that you're interested in. And for all of those who are saying to shorten my videos, I'm afraid I'm not going to do that. I would rather that you hear and see the full information that I am providing to you than to have some parts missing. A lot of my slides have been repeated for educational purposes, so please be aware of that. Okay? So let's play the videos. I will be explaining the key responsibilities of each of these points as much as possible. So please have patience and try to keep up with me, since I am going to be talking a lot about this slide. Container surveyor's key responsibilities are damage inspection, which involves inspection of interior and exterior of the containers, standard checks of the door hinges, seals and locking mechanisms, and also to see if the ISO criteria is met. There is another one that I forgot to mention, and that is the documentation. So please remember that marine inspection also comes into the surveyor category. On to the second point, safety inspectors. Very quick 3 points. First is container inspections, second is compliance and regulations, and third is routine inspections required by law. Very simple, not much to think about here. On to the third point. This point is very interesting, and as most of the headlines that you see of illegal trade and smuggling goods actually gets leaked or notified from the inspectors working on the cargo fields and dockyards. So that's another food for thought. And what do? You may ask. They cross-match documents, they check for illegal items and smuggling, and to abide by the export-import laws of the state, and to give a last but final thorough inspection by using sniffer dogs and high-tech scanning equipment. Okay? So fourth point. ISO inspectors or ISO inspectors, simply key points to nail down: conforming to ISO standards, manufacturer and compliance check, load and water tightness testing, and submitting a final report to HQ and issuing an ISO approval certificate. Reefer technicians are very rare and seldom make an appearance on the yards, but are required on an emergency basis in case of reefer container malfunction. So what do? They check for proper operation and efficiency, door seals, insulation and air circulation, temperature calibrations tests to see if the container can keep the required temperature, and finally to identify any dirt and contamination. Let's move on to the sixth point about tank containers. Tank container inspectors check for structural integrity and pressure resistance, leaks, corrosion, and proper valve operation, and other various tests, including pressure testing for PSI pumps and levers. Third-party inspectors only have two main roles, and that is client-specific inspections and pre-purchase and pre-lease inspection services. Moving on to the depot terminal inspectors. These guys are only ever needed when you have long-distance logistics in place, or when containers are going to depot, which also includes track and trace of the containers. Okay, so last point is about environmental officers. They have to do with contamination, compliance with environmental laws, and correct labeling and handling of dangerous goods. These guys usually make an appearance when things go out of hand, and then also reporting violations and incidents. I hope everyone is still with me. That was kind of long. So let's move on to the 9th slide. Here I will give you guys some homework to do. I will spell out all the abbreviations that are listed in this slide, and it is up to you guys or the viewers at home to figure out and research what and where these certain permits and regulations are used or implemented. So let's begin by spelling out all the terminologies. So please bear with me, this might be quite long. CSC stands for Convention for Safe Containers. ISO, I have reminded you before, but I will repeat it, stands for International Organization for Standardization. IMO stands for International Maritime Organization. CSI stands for Container Security Initiative. MARPOL or MARPOL stands for International Convention for the Prevention of Pollution from Ships. HMR stands for Hazardous Materials Regulations. IMDG code stands for International Maritime Dangerous Goods Code. ADR stands for European Agreement Concerning the International Carriage of Dangerous Goods by Road. VGM stands for Verified Gross Mass. SOLAS stands for International Convention for the Safety of Life at Sea. PSI stands for Pre-Shipment Inspection. CSC stands for Convention for Safe Containers. I think I have repeated that twice. And C-TPAT stands for Customs Trade Partnership Against Terrorism. CSD stands for Container Security Devices. Okay, so that's all for the abbreviations. Look up and study them. It will come in handy in the future for those individuals who might dispatch or broker intermodal containers. So let's go on to the 10th slide. These are the most common and influential ports around the globe. These include ports such as Shenzhen and Ningbo Port in China. Then there's the famous Long Beach and New Jersey port. In Europe, we have ports in Rotterdam, Hamburg, and Le Havre in France. Then there's ports from Australia, Japan, South Korea, UAE, and Singapore. Please bear in mind there are many other ports which have less influence in logistics overall. Those will be shown in the next multimedia slide. Here are the multimedia that I promised to give you guys. I hope you guys enjoy it. I'll be waiting for you on the next slide. From here onwards, I will use text, graphic animation, and soothing audio to describe and elaborate my point on the pros and cons slide. I will also be adding an intro and outro later on this month. So enjoy the rest of the presentation, and I will see you on the next video.